Most auto aficionados instantly think of one iconic vehicle when they hear the terms rear engine, air-cooled, and flat six, the Porsche 911. Today, however, we're deviating from the usual course to discuss a completely different machine, one that was created in America, started out as a small economy car, and evolved into a formidable racing contender. Here is a tale of the Chevrolet Corvair YENKO Stinger, a vehicle created with the sole intention of competing with and outperforming the Shelby GT350. From compact to contender. When the Chevrolet Corvair first came out, its goals were quite low. It was Chevrolet's response to the enormously popular Volkswagen Beetle, and it was first released in 1960. The Corvair was never meant to be a purebred sports car. It was big, cheap, and useful. After all, it was an economy compact designed to close a gap in GM's product line. However, if we can learn anything from American auto culture, it is that fans are rarely willing to accept constraints. Someone will construct a sports automobile if there isn't one already. And that's precisely what happened when a visionary named Don YENKO transformed the Corvair into a high-performance, competitive racer that could compete with Shelby's best. The visionary, Don YENKO. You must know the man behind the YENKO Stinger in order to comprehend it. At his core, Don YENKO was a racer, not just mechanic or salesman. He gained notoriety in the 1960s by altering Chevrolets and putting monstrous Corvette L88 engines into Camaros, Novas, and Chevelles. These vehicles rose to fame on their own. But YENKO had another idea before he became known for his big block strength. In SCCA racing, where the dominant Shelby GT350 was changing the rules, he aimed to create a car that could compete on an equal basis. The Camaro hadn't even been released yet, and the Corvette was too hefty to be allowed in the proper racing divisions. The other products from GM were either too big or unfit for the market. Only the recently released second-generation Corvair remained as a contender. The second-generation Corvair. Everything changed when the Corvair was redesigned in 1965. The original's unique, little appearance was gone. It was replaced by a more streamlined body weighing between 2,400 and 2,500 pounds. More significantly, Chevrolet had fitted all four wheels with fully independent suspension, which was uncommon in American automobiles at the time. The Corvair's rear engine configuration and rear weight bias, together with its handling qualities, made YENKO think of another vehicle, the Porsche 911. Although it wasn't flawless, the promise was there. YENKO decided to start with the Corsa model. A 140 horsepower, naturally aspirated 164 cubic inch flat six engine powered the original Corsa. Although there was a 180 horsepower turbocharged variant, YENKO chose to continue using the normally aspirated engine. He wanted dependability and a solid base on which to grow. Building the YENKO Stinger. A manufacturer required to make at least 100 examples of a particular model in order to compete in SCCA production classes. YENKO therefore set out to produce just that. He bought a 1965 Corvair Corsa and started making it into a racetrack-worthy vehicle. To be considered a two-seater sports car, the rear seats were removed. New springs, updated shocks, and adjustments at all four corners to lessen body roll and improve handling with the following suspension modifications. YENKO installed a bigger Cadillac master cylinder for braking power, which enhanced pedal feel and dependability compared to the factory configuration. Additionally, each Stinger had a positive traction rear end, which improved traction when applying force to the pavement. The flat six engine underwent a number of improvements, and purchasers could select from various stages of performance based on their desired speed and budget. The stages of power. Each performance stage of the YENKO Stinger was designed to accommodate varying budgets and levels of racing ambition. Stage I was the entry-level model, costing $3,450 and including suspension adjustments and a modest engine tune that increased output to roughly 160 horsepower, a significant 20 horsepower increase over the original Corsa. With a hotter camshaft, new pistons, and a higher compression ratio of 10:1, Stage 2 went one step further, increasing power to about 190 horsepower and coming with a complete instrument set for $3,800. Stage 3 added ported cylinder heads, forged pistons, and other internal improvements for customers who wanted even more performance. This increased horsepower to about 220 and increased the price to $4,350. The full race-bred version, known as Stage 4, cost $5,000 and was equipped with extra engine improvements and weight reductions to produce roughly 240 horsepower. A Stage V prototype that may have experimented with a larger engine and fuel injection, potentially producing up to 250 horsepower, was also the subject of rumors, though specifics are still lacking. Every YENKO Stinger, regardless of stage, had the same distinctive appearance: a unique rear spoiler, adjustable rear vents for better engine cooling, and clean white paint with prominent blue stripes. This gave the car a speedy appearance even when it was at a stop. On the track, was the Stinger as good as it sounded? In summary, yes, albeit with varying degrees of success. YENKO Stinger participated in 22 races based on SCCA records. They managed a few podiums and 3 first-place finishes. The Stinger demonstrated that the Corvair could be turned into a significant race vehicle, even though it wasn't always a huge killer when compared to the Shelby GT350. It had the engineering to surprise European imports and handle better than many of its American counterparts. However, YENKO's timing was not favorable. When Chevrolet eventually introduced a Camaro in 1967, GM found itself a far more marketable pony car to back. Almost immediately, manufacturer support and development went to V8 platforms, abandoning the Corvair and Stinger. Sales of the Corvair plummeted by 1969, and the aircraft was no longer produced. The YENKO Stinger project vanished into the past with it. A few more customer cars were later altered, but only roughly 100 actual Stingers were ever produced. Legacy of the YENKO Stinger. Ralph Nader's notorious book Unsafe at Any Speed, which attacked the Corvair's early handling peculiarities, is what makes the automobile renowned today. However, the Stinger presents an alternative narrative, one of inventiveness, fervor, and American resourcefulness. It was essentially America's version of the Porsche 911, a flat-six, rear-engine sports car with genuine racing credentials. What may have happened if YENKO and Chevrolet had kept working on it? Maybe in addition to the Corvette, the U.S. would have had another iconic sports vehicle. The Stinger is still a highly sought-after collector today. Although prices vary, a 1966 YENKO Stinger brought $62,500 at auction in May 2022. That's a remarkable monument to its enduring influence for a vehicle that started out as an economic compact. Although it may not have killed the Shelby GT350 as YENKO had intended, the Chevrolet Corvair YENKO Stinger left its mark. It demonstrated that even a small, compact car could be transformed into a competitive racer with the right mindset and drive. It's a tale of ingenuity, daring, and the unrelenting quest for speed, values that still characterize modern car culture.